In the high-end shopping malls of Xiamen, China, she was known as Sherry, an elegant saleswoman guiding clients through Patek Philippe displays for China's new elite. Neighbors called her polite and disciplined. To everyone around her, she looked like a quiet success story. But Sherry was a role, a 20-year performance designed to hide a very different past. On November 28, 2019, that performance met something it couldn't charm: data. A facial recognition system in the mall's cameras flagged her with a 97.33% match. The algorithm didn't see a saleswoman. It saw a ghost from 1996, a former primary school teacher named Lao Rong Zhi, wanted in connection with a 3-year crime spree that left 7 people dead across multiple cities. At 19, Lao Rong Zhi had what many families in China would have considered a dream: a secure, state-assigned job as a primary school teacher. But the mid-90s were also a time of rapid economic change. Outside her classroom, a new class was emerging: bosses, traders, and entrepreneurs with luxury cars, cash, and visible power. Against that backdrop, Lao began to see her own life as small and limited. In 1994, she met a man who offered a different kind of solution: Fa Zi Ying. He was 10 years older, a convicted robber, and a man who viewed life with open cynicism. To Fa, the world was divided into those who had money and those who were smart enough to take it. Lao didn't just fall in love with Fa, she absorbed his logic. She resigned from her school, told her family she was doing business, and stepped out of the classroom into his world. That world ran on one idea: people were opportunities. Together, they built a method to turn those opportunities into money. They relied on the same script every time: stir desire, spring the trap, then let the knife do the rest. In Nanchang, 1996, Lao worked as a nightclub hostess and met 37-year-old businessman Xiang. She used sex to lure him to their rental, where Fa ambushed him with a knife. They tied him up, robbed him, and forced him to give up his home address and keys. Fa then strangled and dismembered him. Later that night, they used his keys to enter his home, cut the phone lines, and robbed the place. After that, they strangled Xiang's wife and their 2-year-old daughter before the pair fled with the stolen property. In Wenzhou, 1997, Lao used the same method, working at a KTV, helping Fa lure, bind, rob, and ultimately strangle 2 female co-workers before they fled with cash and valuables. In Changzhou, 1998, Lao met a target through nightlife work and lured a 33-year-old man to their rented apartment. Fa stabbed him and they tied him up, then forced him and his wife to hand over cash before leaving them alive, making this the only case where their victims survived and could later identify them. In July 1999, in the city of Hefei, their pattern reached its most chilling form. They kidnapped a businessman named Yin and locked him in a custom-built iron bird cage in a rented apartment. Yin didn't believe they would actually kill him. He thought it was a bluff. Fa Zi Ying decided to prove him wrong. He went to a local labor market, hired a carpenter, and brought him back to the apartment. With Lao in the next room, only a few steps away, Fa killed the carpenter and used the head as a warning to the man in the cage. Yin was then forced to call his wife and write ransom notes. When Fa went to Yin's home to collect the money, he never made it back to the apartment. He was arrested there, later convicted and executed, and he never gave up Lao. Lao disappeared for the next 20 years. She moved to Xiamen and became Sherry. She wasn't hiding in the shadows. She was at the gym, learning the violin, and working her way up to top saleswoman for Patek Philippe. Her social media signature read, "Only the weight scale, mirror, and bank account don't lie." It is often asked why the killings stopped. The answer likely isn't a change of heart, but a change of necessity. In the 90s, blood was her path to wealth. In the 2000s, silence was her path to survival. She had finally reached the elite world she once craved, and she wasn't going to let a murder ruin her new life. She believed that if she played the good citizen long enough, the past would lose its weight. She thought 7,300 days of being Sherry could overwrite those 3 years as Fa's partner in crime. But the record of the 1990s never disappeared. It was just waiting for her face to match a file. That match came in 2019, and the question became how much of that record she would have to answer for. In both China and the United States, you don't have to hold the weapon to be treated as a killer. If prosecutors can prove you shared the plan and knew death was likely, you can be convicted of murder. The difference is how that judgment is made and how far the punishment goes. Unlike the US, China does not have a jury system. It relies on panels of judges. In Lao's case, they focused on the pattern. She willingly left her teaching job to join Fa, repeatedly lured victims into danger, and stayed in the apartments to facilitate the killings. She didn't just witness the crimes, she lived on the proceeds for decades. To the court, that was joint intent. Presence was participation. She was sentenced to death. Higher courts upheld the verdict. Lao Rong Zhi was executed on December 18, 2023. We live in a world where we think we can outrun our past by curating our present. But the truth is heavy, and in the end, the data of our actions is the only thing that survives. This is Rational Ends. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and please subscribe.